to handle the stress. Will confess that some of the problem was my judges who indicated that they only wanted to hear OPs at certain times. I took a different stance and I said, no, we will hear it several times per day because emergencies don't arise on a calendar or a clock. They have to be resolved. So that put pressure on the advocate because some of my judges only wanted to hear them at 8:30. And then I said, we'll do them at 9. We will do them at 1. Paperwork for this individual was difficult for her to complete. Individuals will come, they fill out forms that are ultimately reviewed by a judge. That takes time, and ultimately, like I said, she couldn't handle the stress and quit. Need to have that position filled. Why we're coming before the board is rather than it being a grant fulfilled position, I'm not saying grant money can't be used for it, but we're hopeful that with additional funds, we might be able to get a candidate that would be able to handle higher volume. I don't mind telling you that I have instituted other measures with the help of the circuit to try to streamline the process. They like what I've chosen to do, and it seems like it would be cutting time down considerably. But still, we need the advocate. One of the problems we face is if there's a disturbance, they call the police. And police sometimes don't want to get involved and simply tell them to go file an order of protection. That's probably why we have so much. To give you an idea of volume, we file more than twice as much as in Jackson County. The closest county to us is Franklin County, and they're about 100 underneath us. So I have indicated to both the circuit clerk and to the state's attorney that I would help fund this position. Statute says two different things, and Mr. Barkey can help you guys out on this. It's overseen generally by the state's attorney's office, but the statute also says that the circuit clerk is to make certain things available. So I don't know how those gentlemen want to handle it in terms of whose position it is. I'm willing to share an expense. So
the expectation is the position stays under my supervisory authority simply because it's quasi-legal advice that the advocate gives to those individuals who go to the court. Statute provides or allows for the advocate to actually speak to the court on behalf of them, which again is
it's supposed to be supervisory under the state's attorney's office.
So we, as you know, it's already provided for in my budget for this position to be granted. However, the problem that we have, I can speak more to this, Justin, this position has been a revolving door for years, simply because it was put in the morning and the hours and the stress are significant, which is why people eventually will get fed up. You know, in your average board of protection, you have people who are incredibly emotionally distraught. The paperwork that they do is quadruple that we currently, which makes them out changing. So you have somebody who's emotionally distraught, and you have them fill out the front page, and it's difficult to get through that. And then they get to do it 3 more times, and it's very difficult for the individual in this position to be able to do one. And on any given Monday, there's going to be one that doesn't.
We're averaging right now, previously to Judge Green's new student policy, that we were averaging between 8 to 12.
So it's problematic. So when Justin and I began to identify the reality of this position was going to come open, it's a person that notified me. We started calling around, talked to other counties. Jackson County has a similar position to the one we're proposing. I believe that position is currently vacant in Jackson County because they had a falling out between that individual, the county board of their situation. But nonetheless, I know when I talked to Joe Cervantes, Jackson County State's attorney, he was pretty pleased with the fact. Same thing that we're looking for in the sense that finally this position is filled with someone consistently who's getting paid a rate and that makes them want to stay there and maintain continuous employment. You know, there's a lot of qualifications that Justin and I have talked about, pushing it to its position, review with that hiring process. But we're pretty confident we have a decent idea of what we want to fill that position and make this revolving door process in. It's important for us to take some of the stress off the judiciary because whenever we do these OPs, they need to hear them, they need to get done with this because they're emergency, which means they're not preset on the docket. They have no idea what's going to happen, how many are going to walk up, how many they have to do. They already have established dockets on those days, so the process needs to be streamlined as much as possible to make our judiciary efficient. So we're looking to fill a position that will be, how do we define it, manager?
Yeah. Victim advocate manager.
Victim advocate manager. We are, what we're planning on doing, the approval of the board is to create a position that pays $45,000 and 15 to come from each of our budgets. We're spreading it out over our 3 budgets. That person will actually have someone who works with them, which is the grant position that we still keep. That's obviously for the state. We discussed it. I'm not sure if we can go into those funds.
May not be able to.
So we thought it'd be better if we just kept the grant position, which is basically the position, and reduced hours to assist, especially we know what days tend to be heavier, which is usually the first couple of days of the week. The weekends, they all come in for these. It dies out and then it picks up again. Weekends, and they all come back up. So, you know, we can adjust those hours, but we can manipulate the time for pushing the grant position to whatever works best for our manager. And that particular manager will be a non-union position.
That's going to be my next question.
There will be a white Christopher Willis to me, one of my staff. They would be just stay inside of a very similar structure to this group.
So this person they would respond to you, they would be under your office. And then the grant position would be under that person?
Well, it's still be in my office.
Still in your office?
But it's, because my office is, it's the grant. So that'll stay in there. We'll fill both of them. There are other things that I talked to Judge Reed about. We can talk about that position as well. She went short work in that particular region. Yeah, maybe able to. So that, yeah. 5 would be, I guess, as I see it.
So obviously, this is something new, not on last year's budget, not a line item there, no monies were allocated for it. Certainly don't have any problems helping out. I think the board knows that I've done that before maybe. But to be clear, I'm not saying I'm paying this from court assessment. I would have to talk to I'd talk to the treasurer to figure out where or what I can do. I would probably come back to you and say, look, some of this money I need basically come from county coffers. Another conversation that we will have after I've talked to the treasurer to make sure that my numbers are right. You may remember in the past, I refunded money to the county. It looks like that's probably going to happen.
Really?
Yeah, you can also from.
Well, I'm surprised that Justin didn't say it first.
Right.
Or Travis is sitting behind him. Well, Steve, you always run a tight ship. This board truly appreciates that. And we've consistently tried to support you guys too. So.
And I appreciate that very much.
And this is actually on the agenda, so we can get this done today.
And what we're, obviously, if you approve it, then we're going to have to post the job. It's something that's posted just in. So we hope to get sooner rather than later because there's currently nobody. The clerk's office is doing a tremendous job. holding it together for now, but it's not a long-term solution.
Most of where recycling you need, but also on our capital sites.
So not to throw a wrinkle in this, but I'm gonna throw a little one to figure out exactly where you guys are wanting to go. So under your contract, Ted, it says grant funded positions are excluded. You could have the interpretation that if it was partially grant funded, you could also make the argument it should be excluded. I know you would prefer to have it as a non-union position. You just don't know if the union is going to agree that it's a non-union supervisory position that we can win with the labor board is my only concern. So I don't know if you've had conversations
Well, I have-
with Jack.
Oversight over the position, it doesn't necessarily mean the commission comes out. It's being paid out of 3 different budgets, so I don't know how they're gonna deal with that because it's,
So
I
then
don't
I
know,
would go-
but it cannot be my employee.
no.
So then I would go to Justin's contract, and Justin's contract is also gonna have the same problem that your contract has. So the best thing to do, I think, would be to have it as a grant, to have that conversation, explain that there's triplicate funding sources, and this traditionally isn't a union position. We're asking you to create this one. But you've experienced some of the
Mine.
issues.
How is it
It's
that-
the rep.
Jack Skelcher.
It's Jackson.
Well, I make a suggestion. He knows me too. So maybe
I don't
we
know
could
if he's a
all,
problem.
No.
Okay.
How,
gentlemen, I have to leave. I apologize, but I greatly appreciate you taking me first so I can go back to court.
We're always glad to have you here, Steve.
you, the 3 of us, we don't
Thank
need
you.
to change that.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Joe.
There was, we'll have a conversation. Let me ask you this. Can they vote to approve the creation of the position and by the time you fill it, we'll have to figure out where that falls, or does it have to be known from before they vote to create the position?
I think you can create it. The issue is gonna come down to the predetermined wages of 45. You may have some people kick and scream that that's the wage.
I understand. And they'll
And
have
then
to,
say everybody else should get to come up to, which then creates the budgetary issues.
well, if we just get the negotiation down on the other one, we don't have to worry about it.
Well, yes, I agree. We could get some insurance information, that would help as well.
It's coming. It's coming.
So are you guys then gonna take care of the benefits package?
No, that would be on us.
Can't pay it out of my.
It's gonna have to be on us.
For 45.
I don't have the automation accounts that these two.
I would think that, we will include those costs. Yeah. I would say how they feel.
But I think from a partially, I know you're concerned about the co-mingling, so I don't know if you feel as though you're gonna be able to find somebody that's grant funded at,
I don't think there's any possible way you can fund that by grant unless you could make funds. None of the grants.
but I think
have
you
the
can
funds.
co-mingle. I think the grant is gonna require that you show that that person is working in enough hours to account for the grant funding of the 15 or whatever the grant.
Well, I read the, well, I see what you're saying. You're saying
You just have to document it.
if I fund my portion of the 15, the grant money is partially grant positions first. Nice. That could work. Because I've read the grant and I was concerned.
It's the way the health departments do it all the time. That
Yes.
5 grants will make up an employee's salary. They just have to document that X number of hours each month.
Well, they don't like, when I read the grant proposal, they don't like, I'm gonna pay someone, say I'm gonna pay an employee $30,000 and the first 15 grants coming from the grant, the other 15 grants coming from the county. There's language in there that says, well, if you can fund any of it from the county, you should fund all of it. And what do you need a grant money for? The grant money is supposed to be when you don't have resources to pay
For those
for that-
duties.
Those duties, yeah.
Correct. So
So it's
so you do the
to be
duties,
creative.
you do the duties for the grant, and then you do your external extra fill duties that you were already talking about that justify the additional monies for the others, and I think you could probably swing them. But like I said, we can talk.
We need to have a conversation soon about that, because that,
I think that's what Union County did actually, Jay, is they combined it with a victim advocate and additional duties to bump up their pay. I
So
believe.
then do we need to go ahead
oh,
I
we
think
need to
and vote
get
on
that.
this, or
I think we-
do we have a clear understanding,
Well,
clear direction?
I don't know exactly what you're authorizing. Are you just authorizing the additional funds? Or, Because we can work with that.
Yeah, we need to get it back, we'll try and get it done by next week. So that we can get it voted on, because I've gotta wait so long.
The 2 weeks after it's posted.
Yeah.
So if you can have it by Monday, I can have a meeting Monday afternoon.
Yeah, we can have fun.
Okay, so let's set up a meeting for Monday afternoon instead.
we can bypass the potential 2 week if we can get everybody to sign off that they're not interested.
So Monday afternoon, we'll have that work through, and then we'll do it.
I don't know.
Is that okay?
Yeah. And like I said, I would be willing to put $50,000 in my funds. Support this, because
Appreciate
You
it.
never
Anything
know.
that you.
Hell, I need you to get more people.
so it'll help everybody's life out easier.
I did have a question for you, totally off the subject.
Yeah.
What was going on with the I-ticket?
Did you take
Where we were.
the citation?
E-citation, yeah.
In terms of the status of the citation, I'm waiting on to figure out what kind of CAD systems they're gonna use, and then from there, then that's when the sheriff's gonna give me the green light. But I've just got the funds sitting there waiting.
So it's coming?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, you and I talked
That is
Saturday.
something I'm very eager to get done, so.
Well, and I haven't heard anything lately. I had you.
Yeah, we can roll this right.
Yeah,
I think that'd be good.
save a lot of time.
So is it
Anything else
Monday,
on this?
No, not on this issue.
Okay, Monday afternoon.
Monday at 1 o'clock or what?
Well, let's look at the calendars here real quick, guys. Um,
I'm good all day.
You good on that?
Yep.
I need to leave somewhat early in the afternoon. I'm gonna be sports Springfield for testing. So, we're good at 9?
Yeah,
I can get it for 9,
my normal's off, so.
9 o'clock, Monday morning,
Sure.
okay? I don't know that we'll have anything else on the agenda, so it's gonna be real quick. Okay?
Well,
Good. We'll get it through. Going back to our agenda, public comment, we have any public comment. Hearing none, we will go down to new business, and that will be the Eagle Scout project presentation. We have Gold X on the floor down there.
Hi, my name is Joseph Hampson. I'm his son. I'm from Troop 7085. That's in Heron. It's by Our Lady of Mount Carmel, if you know where that is. Okay, and I live in Marion. So my project is kind of a memorial to the veterans. It's going to be located at the Marion Veterans Airport. So like where it's going to be located at the airport. So I don't know if you guys are familiar like with the landscaping, but there's 3 flagpoles and that like little thing right in front of it, where you want to put it right in the middle of the 3 flagpoles. And it's kind of like a tombstone-ish, but not. We haven't finalized the design. It's like the board yet. So we're talking with them, but right now this is kind of the consensus. It's going to have the 6 emblems of the military. So the current 6 And then there's gonna be writing on it, probably about the airport, about the veterans, about the BSA. It'll probably have like my troop on it or something, I think. We haven't really talked about the writing yet. And then also something we haven't like, finalized, but might happen is we wanna honor the first 1,000 like honor flight people, right? People who've been on it. They don't have to pay for it, but we're gonna do bricks, right, with their names right in front of it. And we've been talking with American Monuments. They're gonna help us out a lot. The company down here, I'm pretty sure, right, Deb?
My project. Why is this project?
So this project is pretty important to me because I've been doing the honor flight and you guys are familiar with the honor flight, right? I've been doing the honor flight since the very first one when scouting was added to it, or I think it was the very first one, but I've been doing every single one since. So I've been there from start to current day honor flights. And this project was really important to me because I really like veterans. Veterans are, they're some of the most important people because if without them, we wouldn't have America right now. It wouldn't be how it is right now. So they're very important. And I think honoring them with current members of the military and past who are just, living in Marion and stuff, I think when they see that there's a monument, kind of a memorial to those who have passed, but monument more. When they see that, I think they're going to be happier that people are recognizing them, and so am I missing something? I don't think I am. Yeah.
You're doing good.
Well, this is the second place I had to talk to. I talked to the Rotary Club this morning with them.
We're a lot nicer than the Rotarians.
Yeah, but they fed you, so.
It's pretty great.
Can you tell us what the timeline is?
Oh yeah. So right now we want to get it done by the night. Like when we want to unveil it, we announced it at last honor flight. When we want to unveil it, when it's going to be done is this next one. So September. That's when we're looking at getting it done. Right now I'm just getting funds and stuff to actually do the project and get donations from people, budgeting, seeing what I can do. It's kind of in the planning / like money phase of the project. And I think, I'm doing pretty well right now. I think at around $200 in donations currently. So the project's probably going to cost like $8,000 to $10,000 because we're not making the veterans pay for it. Because I think that'd be kind of not very nice to make the veterans pay for their own bricks. So we're paying for them. And so it's going to cost a little bit. We're looking at $8,000, $10,000, but $200 is, it's a start. Yeah.
We're gonna see if the sheriff has to check.
I was thinking, we all know somebody in this room, might be interested.
Okay, so I think that's it.
So what's the size of the monument?
So it's gonna be probably the size of the bigger tombstone. So you can imagine it's gonna be rock. It's gonna be Stone. Yeah, stone. It's gonna be stone because we're talking to American Monuments. They're gonna help us with the cutting and all that. It's gonna be just a stone with the 6. They're gonna be golden medals of the 6 branches in a circle, or in some form or fashion. I think it should be a circle. He has other opinions, but and then there's gonna be writing in the middle and maybe on the back. And I think it should be black, like the black stone, because I think that would look cool. But we haven't finalized what materials we're using yet. We're just in the general. And then the bricks are gonna be, if you've been to the airport recently, there's this little loop in front of it. We want that to be where the bricks are. So,
It'd be perfect.
I can tell you, as being on first honor flight as a guardian, I think all those veterans that go on the honor flight appreciate that. I think that's a very good project out there. You will stand out right in the center, very visible. That's awesome.
thank you.
Already working to raise funds.
I'm talking at the Rotary Club and this today, and then I have several other places to talk to, not today, but throughout summer. I'm also, I take donations, like really anywhere I go. Like if someone if I talk about it, I'll be like, I can take donations. And,
Who do we make the donations out to?
Yeah.
oh, Troop 7085. That would be who you make the donation.
So it goes to the troop or it goes to
Yeah.
you?
It goes to the troop.
Truth has to hold the truth.
705.
7085.
7085. Do
Um,
we have to earmark it Veterans Memorial or?
you can just say that it's like for an Eagle project, I'm pretty sure, like if you can. But yeah, that's kind of, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should mention. Well, thank you for letting me speak.
Is there an address where we need to send this donation?
It's Sean Banks, if that helps you.
I would have to look it up.
The Rotary Club, they just said it was for an Eagle project.
Well, no, he's saying.
What mailing address?
Oh, mailing,
Ted can act as a clearinghouse.
Yeah, you can,
Ted's-
well, you can
Ted's
send
house.
it to 809 Morningside. It's not the truth, it's the truth.
But yeah, is there any other questions about the project?
You said you were thinking about putting writing on the stone. What would that, do you have any idea what that might say?
It's gonna have something about the airport, most likely, since, it's their property, so they should definitely have something about it. And then probably something about the honor flight, since this is kind of in collaboration, because I've been talking to the honor flight, head person. Probably something about Boy Scouts, since, it is an Eagle Scout project, so it's either gonna have my troop, or maybe a quote that I really like from Boy Scouts, but, whatever. And then maybe on the back, we could have something about a US quote, like a famous one about veterans. That's kind of my envisionment. Probably a longer quote on the back since there will be nothing there, so people can read it and stuff whenever they're waiting for a plane or something, and they just want to go outside. So maybe it'll inspire someone to join the military or support the military. The hope is that people really see how important veterans are to the U.S.
Well, I think that's a great project. You'll be able to see that as time goes on, as the years go by, that'll be there. And, you had part of that. So, very, very inspiring. That's a great project.
Thank you.
Just have one more question. Jim, do you have a question? Out of the merit badges, what was your favorite one to get?
It's probably something like, if I had to choose ranking, it might be aviation. You gotta fly a plane in that one. That was pretty cool. But sentimental, it'll probably be what was it? It was reptile stuff. That was my first merit badge. It was pretty good. So, and it was pretty fun too. You just learn about turtles and
I'm
stuff.
not flying a plane.
I said aviation. That was the most fun, but the one that I probably care about the most is reptile study, just because it was my first one. First one I can remember. So
How when you guys worked on the semi-tractor trailer?
yeah, it's pretty much.
Is the Pinewood Derby a merit badge?
Cub Scout.
No, that's Cub
I
Scout.
didn't know how much of them came up.
They, Boy Scouts still do Pinewood. It's the Cub Scout.
We do there's automotive stuff though. We went to Honda, right? That building, and they just let us see cars and stuff. It was pretty cool. I think we checked the oil. Hold on.
We did. That's awesome. What was it? Canoeing, rifle, shooting down Pine Ridge.
So he
Yeah,
leaves.
I work at Llewellyn. That's where I'm a summer camp counselor at Llewellyn for Boy Scouts.
Oh, okay. You ever go down to Pine Ridge?
Yeah, I go down there all the
They
time.
still call it, was it Heart Attack Hill?
Yeah. And it is.
Yeah.
No, he teaches.
I teach right now. I don't know if I'm teaching lake or just normal aquatics. I'm an aquatics counselor where I work. I do swimming and life saving. So I'm also a lifeguard. I work at the pub. You know, I'm also a lifeguard there.
Excellent.
You know.
You know, as a legal scout myself, I was asked to speak at one of the legal presentations at the award ceremony. So I asked that very question, individual, time, what was his favorite merit badge? And he said, it was on nuclear science, or something like that, and I said, I looked at him and said, I think mine was cooking, and I don't know how I got that one.
That's a hard merit badge to obtain. Cooking, you had to do a lot of stuff.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's
My first year.
required
First 2
in your
years.
first one.
I don't think I got that down at Pine Ridge, cooking dinner for the whole group. I think everybody, we had
Yeah.
to group up and then feed everybody at some point.
It's extensive.
Yeah, I'm currently the youth leader of the troop, so I kind of, I'm gonna change out in like a couple of months. I mean, it's every 6 months.
No matter what you're back in, you never know.
No,
They won't let him out.
So he's moving into politics, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, he doesn't really want.
Is he campaigning?
I've been the
Force
youth leader for
personnel,
longer
he
than
gets
most
to do
people in
everything.
the States of training, so.
Can't wait.
You know,
I know why I work so much. I get this at home.
just so you understand, that's on that forever.
Yeah, I know.
Talking about elections, I've been in a lot more elections.
Oh, there.
And
Okay.
I've won a lot more. Well, I think,
This is what I get.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you, that's awesome.
thanks for the,
Michelle. The county clerk.
Thank you.
That's the commissioner.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming by.
Troop 85 on there, that's the troop.
oh, really?
Right.
And
And
Sean. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
All right, Jeff, you don't have to stay.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you very much.
Moving on now, we have highway department.
You know, Stephanie, 5, 6 readers.
Okay.
To leave them up, nah, I'm good, I'm good, I can see them. I just gotta keep my arms a little long. I'm gonna leave them at your desk.
Okay.
So good afternoon, gentlemen. On the agenda today, there are the purchase of 5 pickup trucks. 3 of those are half-ton trucks. We received 3 bids on half-tons. And Absher Arnold was low bid on 3 trucks at $41,214 each. These are 2 new trucks for foreman, 1 for our new project manager in the engineering section, Cole. And the old trucks, we trying to update these a little more often, especially the foreman, because they spend their lives in those trucks. And what I'm doing is rotating them back into the fleet to try to upgrade our fleet a little bit. We've got some pretty junky stuff. So we're gonna start upgrading our trucks a little more often every 2 years and rotating the fleet to try to. So that was for 3 new half tons. And then also accepted bids for 2 new 3/4 ton trucks. These trucks are main workhorses in our pipe crews and our teams that respond to down trees at night They're outfitted with all chainsaws and all equipment they need to change pipes out, things like that. And plan for the other two trucks will be to rotate those into the fleet. One of them will be a new spray rig truck, which we just recently purchased a new spray rig to spray the weeds in the county in a little more safe manner. So those trucks, three-quarter varying motors, the Chevrolets at $44,033.41 each. That's the first time in a long time Chevy's got a bid. These are really good trucks that have 10 speed ounce of transmission, and it's not especially good.
You told me those are gas.
They are all gas, yes. Yep. So I'm asking for you guys approval on those purchases.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchases of the trucks listed.
I'll second. Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson,
Yes.
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Jim Razor.
And I think Stephanie probably already provided all the inventory stuff for them to sign. So I got, we haven't got any.
I was out there the other day, your spray rig was out there,
Yeah,
and that looks like that's been working out like a champ.
yeah. So a couple of guys have been practicing, getting ready to go. And it's just gonna be a lot better situation than days that spring weeds out the window. It's just, so this is all just good evidence protecting the scene. All the spraying, it's got an agitator in the tank. All the spraying is on the back side of the truck, so they'll go down the road. It's all by servos. They can just use their thumb, push buttons, push the rig out, change the spray nozzles off from inside the cab, not exposed to any of the spray chemical. Just a lot better situation. And that was built by Associated Spray Rig right out here in Pittsburgh. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Travis. Going down to resolutions. We have the appropriation transfers from the sheriff's budget. We each one to transfer some funds out of deputy salaries account into college repair and maintenance. I think it's all good. Actually, it sent this over to us. Actually, sir, did you have any, you sent this over to the sheriff? It was-
He responded that it was a correct reflection of his request.
Okay. Good.
That's
This will be, these funds will be used to pay for radios. So there are extension devices and pieces. Do you have any questions about this?
move to approve resolution 23-05-31-75, transferring $193,974.58. Line item for deputy salaries and line item for oral repair and maintenance of the sheriff's budget. I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson.
Yes.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Jim Razor.
Yay.
We have an ordinance today, and this ordinance pertains to the enterprise zone. Here in Maryland, the mayor was requesting an extension of the enterprise zone to cover a piece of property that's out on Pathway Road for the construction of what looks like a new hotel. So over $13 million investment in the city, and it brings 20+ new jobs to the city. This is something that we've done. I think we've done this, Jim, since you've been here. This is something we've done a couple times in the past. Do you have any questions about this?
No, I,
Jim?
no,
do you have any
not at
questions?
all. Move to approve ordinance 23-05-31-06 to add territory to Williamson County Enterprise.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson.
Yes.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Jim Razor.
Yay.
I would sign these and turn them down to. Other districts. Okay, we have some travel reimbursements. The first one is for Angie Jeter, Supervisor of Assessments Office. And
That's a pre-approval.
that's a pre-approval because the hotel lodging costs are more than what the county would typically pay,
More than what's in the ordinance.
Right. which we probably should look at that. I think we've done that a few times. That's probably noted that. Anybody have any questions about this? The motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the travel reimbursement.
Are you doing them one at a time or all?
Can we go all
Can
together?
we do it one time?
Yes.
I thought we had to
You
do-
said you can't.
Oh, all right, well, let's move on down.
You just have to identify them in the motion.
Okay,
So,
we have a travel reimbursement for Commissioner Marlowe. This is for a conference in Springfield on the 10th and 11th. The total amount of this one, mileage and lodging is $466.89.
This is the IACO Spring Conference, which is the Illinois Association of County Spring Conference.
We have a travel reimbursement for Julie Rinneman. She was at ICMRT conference on the 24th and 25th. The total amount requested from her was $240.38. And we have another for Commissioner Marlowe. Was this the same one?
No, this is a
This is the
different one.
same.
This is for the ICRT conference last weekend in Springfield.
And the total, including mileage and lodging, was $368.85?
Yes.
$368.85. See receipts from hotel.
you have Angie Jeter.
That was the first one.
The first one was
Okay, you didn't say the price, I didn't think so.
Okay, well, there's no price on here. It's $112 a night. So that's pre-approval of our-
Okay,
Right. Do you know how many nights, Alex?
It'd be 2 nights.
2 nights. So it's going to land in with $224 plus
yeah,
tax.
that's fine.
I make a motion that we accept all the stated Wayne County travel reimbursements. Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson,
Yes.
Jim Marlowe,
I'm saying.
Jim Razor.
Perfect. Okay. Ashley, did you have something? Huh?
ARPA stuff and our budget.
Come on up.
First one is a request from the circuit clerk's office for his continued projects and the scanning of documents. This is for Excel Technologies. The amount for this invoice is $2,616.62. The next one is for Saline River Farms. It's an invoice to Horner Shifrin. Whenever they had submitted the first request, I noticed an invoice listed, but there was no additional information. So after sending that, Steve Fowler looked and realized they had an additional invoice from Horner Shifrin, and that amount was $5,134.85. This one is for the city of Hearst, which is for the installation of their meters as well as the software training. I think this should be the very last request for Hearst. This will provide and pay for all the materials that they receive, plus the installation, plus the training. This is for $20,000 even. I think there's maybe $2,000 or $3,000 that'll be left over on that particular one. Ted Swanner said, it's going to be paid in full. Everything will be done. Okay, so this last one, we may have some conversation with it. This is for Blairsville Water District. This is the final submission for the water tower project. Final pay estimates, Caldwell tanks is $216. $106.54, and then a final invoice with Horner Shipping, $1,009.54. So a total amount of $217,116.08. I received an email from Joe Boyke, who's the this project supervisor from Horner Shipping, on behalf of what is no water district. I do have a final pay request, a final lien over from Caldwell Tanks and everything for the rest, but in essence, the total project of Blairsville has $22,066.07 remaining. Whereas the water district is requesting the remaining funds be released to cover future operating, maintenance costs, and training of staff on the new equipment and infrastructure. So I responded to them that this is obviously going to be a board decision, but the project's agreements as well as the submission is to build a water tower, not to fund future operations. So I mean, I can respond, on your behalf, or to tell them that if they would like to submit a request for those funds in a different manner, then you would look at it just like every other request. But it's not what was in the original scope of the agreement, the submission of the request. And I would have to probably do some heavy research for ARPA to see if that's even eligible.
I'm not sure that's eligible use of it.
Because I think they get such a very, very.
Right.
So I think, they're more than well happy to have you thought in the application.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, they
no
can
harm in
actually
that.
fill out an application for that.
Okay.
But if you do that, if you allow that, then it's.
So I'll respond to them if you're okay saying that, if they would like to request for operational funds or anything for future needs, then they need to apply with a brand new application and then go through the same process as what they did. Okay, so the request would be to pay this $217,116.08, which is the invoice for Caldwell Tanks and Horner Shipping.
And what's the extremities on this? I mean, that's the thing we use.
Right. Right. And then in regards to ARPA, just to keep you updated, we're, Commissioner Axon sent out emails or letters to all the recipients about providing their audits to the county to make sure that we were in compliance and collecting all the various information. We started to receive some information back. Would you like for me just to provide that to you and what they're giving? Do you want a synopsis to be given to all of you? I mean, like for Craneville, they didn't have any additional funds, so they weren't required to fill out a single audit. I mean, I can put together some kind of spreadsheet or something.
I think that would be
To that effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Burgess is in the process of getting their audit done. I've talked with Casa. They did not receive any other outside funds, but they were going to provide a 990 in addition to a letter from their accountants stating, as such that they weren't required to do that. So I'll just compile that and try to just feed it to you on a weekly.
Was there a timeline in this to give us a sense?
What did you put in the letter?
That they, right, it was, as soon as possible, I think, because there was a question as to whether or not we had to do that in our audit. I don't think.
We don't have to because we're going.
Right, so it was just a reminder that they were required to provide that information to us.
Something, give it to us, what you saw.
We'll follow up.
We'll
But
follow-
honestly,
we'll
in the
follow
agreement,
up.
I can ask for it. I mean, we're trying to provide the courtesy of having them give us before we have to force the issue.
I
But in
think,
the agreement, it states that they felt to do so, and we have the authority to ask for it ourselves. I mean, to be in compliance with the agreement. So we're trying to do it.
we are, right, we're gonna be kind of general.
And then just a final update, we just signed a request for the energy transition grants yesterday, provided that to Carrie Menace. One of the issues was our SAMS.gov renewal was coming up in June 5th or something like that. We had already submitted last week to update everything, provided all the questionnaires and provided all the updates and information necessary. We received this morning that's been approved and gone through until June 5th of 24. Also, just to let you know, for future movement on this, there were like 6 or 8 different SAMS.gov accounts for various departments. Why, I have no idea. But after talking with Travis is the main one that received a lot of the grant fundings. and-
Probably the reason he had all those originally was because each independent department was told originally when all this happened, they needed each individual number, so that if one department didn't do what they're supposed to do, everybody would lose the money.
Right, yeah.
But that's not the way.
That's not the way it works because it's all under one FEI.
It's all under one
So-
number.
One tax.
So as these have come in for renewal, I'm not renewing. So I did renew Travis's because there was an issue with our primary renewal because we're trying to identify the correct date that was put in for the formation of the county, which we finally figured out. We knew the date, but didn't know 12/31/1839 if anybody ever needs that. But so we renewed his, so his isn't renewed for another, or expire for like another 8 months, I think, or something like that. So when his renews, then we'll wipe it out. Any other ones that are coming up, we're not renewing, because again, there's only one county, FEIN number. All the correspondence should be coming through tomorrow, and now into the commission or the chairman, which is now Tim, or was Jim. So we're just going to maintain that moving forward. If you get a grant writer and they start to oversee that, it's still going to take the same, approach with that, because it just makes more sense to have it under one umbrella that you can keep track of what's going on in a better manner than having it piecemeal in each.
Provide some really good consistency.
Yes,
The
yes.
same person.
So, but it's good to go. So our energy grant's been submitted and we're eligible to receive those funds. That's it.
Question regarding Harper before he sits back down. So I know that Tim, I think you and myself and Ashley got an email from Kevin Cater from Bi-County Health indicating that there will be at least $1,500 that they will not be using. Has the board discussed what that process looks like for an awardee to say, hey, we're done, we're not going to use it anymore? What that official notification needs to look like, or how you want to see that so that you can then reallocate? Because I heard Ashley say there's another one that potentially has $2,000 or $3,000 that they have leftover money. So
Actually, I don't think we've ever really thought about it
We
officially.
assumed they were always going to go over.
No, actually, we didn't think we'd see a penny of that come back with anybody.
I would think this one.
I just didn't know what you guys wanted, if you wanted to have a discussion as to what that needed to look like.
I mean, a closeout form would be good if we could put something,
So closeout form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
some manner, so we can
That's-
have
that's not
both
bad.
parties sign off on it and say, we both met our, required duties and everybody's been paid all.
We're under a timeline to appropriate that money, and we can pay to see some.
We did have a conversation in the beginning about telling us when the project was done. Because there is an end date, the 26th.
I would recommend to send a letter out, he said.
Yeah.
Come up with a closeout, but.
There should be closeout documents on that. That's typical for.
Kind of bookkeeping,
There's only 3 that are not finished. 2 were today.
Well, Percy's done, Blairsville's done.
Seems like-
I mean, we gave a lump sum amount to CASA. So they got a lump sum. I think there was another entity that I wrote a single check to, they got the full amount. Yeah, I guess we would have been one, yeah. So I mean, some of those, and those were under different circumstances. They weren't actual projects, those were for lost revenue. So they were paid in full, but I mean, even something that says, yes, we met our obligations, from the request, we probably will. I guess, yeah, there's 4, maybe 5.
What about Lake Region? We wrote them $100,000 check.
I haven't read Lake Region any.
They haven't asked for it because we had allocated that.
Yeah, they haven't submitted the first one. But I haven't got it. I mean, I got 35 to keep track of, but I don't remember the
2 things on this, I was running the timeline. I would like to see the beginning of 2024. Find out from all the awardees where we're at, the projects at least started, and else. And if not, I'd say somewhere mid-year, we need to find out. If they haven't started mid-year, either to last year or what, so that we can reallocate those funds.
Right.
Because we have to be in 24 to allocate those funds.
During the presentation, they were all told they had until the end of 26 to complete.
That's true. Right. So it's kind of a.
It might be a bring them in and let's talk about, are you really going to get this started? But I don't know that we can cut them off in 24.
But the application, and the agreement was set up to where it's a living document, it's flexible, we can make any changes at any time. So, and if we need to, I think we need to, so that we can award the money to someone else who can get the project done while we can still have some.
Because we have until the end of 2024.
Yeah.
Does the board have any, I mean,
Like to at least see if they start.
desire to start looking at, so we have 22,000 of one, 1,500 from another,
What was
2 or
it?
3,000 from that money, plus whatever we're accruing in interest. I don't know what the exact plan is, but is there a desire to reopen, look at new requests?
There is one project that has been resubmitted. I think you got the email just within the last week that has changed its scope and is appealing to me. What was pitched as a fire training station locally has now become a regional fire training station. And the sheriff has also moved in on this, and there will be an entry and breach training facility for law enforcement. As he's explained to me, our firefighters locally that have been having to travel to Bloomington or Springfield for training, Springfield's going to move some of that training to right here in Marion. So we'll save travel expenses and hotel expenses, and get our local firefighters and law enforcement officials a little more training right here at home. So in the grand scheme of what they're asking versus what some of the other awards have been, I think it's a pretty modest ask and appeals to me. I encourage you to read through it and check with them.
I just didn't start making another column for this, you know, surplus funds.
Surplus funds, yeah.
Because I mean, we closely committed almost all of the original allotted amounts.
We were pretty close.
Yeah, so now it starts to be, okay, so what's going to be available?
Well, that never took into account the interest income. that we got.
Right, right.
Plus the 200,000 received. The other one.
Yeah, right now we have 92. I want to double check and see when that extra money's.
Well, I thought the second
No.
Frenchman did not.
No.
I guess it's more money that, very extra.
I think the idea
We can
was-
use that as lost revenue for
Turn it into lost
10
revenue.
million, but I mean, like I said, we're accruing interest at a pretty healthy
It's a good
monthly
clip.
pace, so, I mean, there's a substantial sum of money that's available for whatever it needs to be resolved.
We still have the private.
Right, but I only got half.
Yeah,
of
there's
that.
only got half of it.
I gotta figure out, I mean, if I've checked, I don't believe we received the second tranche.
It
of
was
that,
supposed
but
to
I-
come in within a few months of each
Well,
other.
I thought so, but I mean, it said fiscal year, so it's still, so I can, but I'm gonna check and see if I can find it on the website.
Right, and that was 200,000.
It's 204,000.
We still don't know what White Ash, the final number there is going to be, but I suspect it would be less than 700.
Let's also do that.
Is it good? What do you say?
You said, everything should be up and running by next week. Being the electrical contractors getting everything. Swear.
Well, yeah, there was a electronics, that kind of stuff too. I did talk to Mayor Johnson City, and explained to him that we were wanting to do a public hearing. And there may still be some interest in Johnson City taking this over. And be responsible for it. And I made an offer to him at least and if you two would want to go up to maybe the city council meetings. And if that might help, so that might be something that we have coming up. Still gonna work that. So, just give you a heads up on that. I was going to talk about Bi-County. Brett beat me to it. Health insurance, I've talked with Alex. We're working on getting us a spectrum of proposals. Some cost. So that work is continuing. I expect that to be quickly. So we may be talking about insurance again next week. So it's coming. Anybody have anything else that you'd like to talk about before we finish this thing up?
No, just, I just made a note about Dr. White Ash meeting with the residents.
Yeah. As soon as it was my understanding that everybody wanted to do it, once we knew the project was complete. And I can tell you that I told Mayor Dobbins that the project is nearing completion and that as soon as that was done, as soon as we knew it was complete, all the pumps are working, and everything is the way it's supposed to be, that we would be contacting him again to start talking about whether or not they wanted to do it, which was when the offer to go to a meeting came up at that point. So I informed him about the public hearing also, so he was interested in that.
I wouldn't have a problem, we just go ahead and schedule it. Prior to the project being complete.
We can absolutely do that.
I'd like to make sure we get this plan and get all the media on board, get the word out.
Okay, but when would you like to do that, Jeff?
I'd say, let's see, when was your surgery?
My surgery's on the 21st, and I would say that best results for me would be out about maybe a week to 10 days after that. But if we're gonna have a meeting, if that's the only time it works, then that's.
Well, I mean, the 19th is a holiday,
19th's a holiday.
right?
All right,
The 20th would be
the
prior,
20th.
the day prior to that. I don't know if that'd work for you. If not that, then look into July.
Yeah, you see, I have no idea what time that surgery will be. I may
Yeah.
be traveling, I may have to travel.
I think, so maybe, so if we don't do it, say like the week of the 12th to the 15th or the 16th.
I don't know if we
I
can
won't
get
be
our
here.
notices out.
Huh?
I don't know if we can get our notices out by then.
Okay, so then let's maybe shoot for, first week of July.
Okay,
Be
Where
all
are
right.
we gonna be with board of review at that point? Would that be a complication?
So that was what I was gonna bring up. So we got our notices out yesterday. It's gonna be published. Mary starts tomorrow. So we'll be accepting complaints for the next 30 days, closing that July 3rd. So expect board of review within the next 30 days to 40 days, probably, to close out within the next 40 days.
so the conversation you and I had today was we should be
I would expect to be closed out by July
the 10th.
10th,
We could be
14th,
10th.
somewhere in there.
So
Okay. Okay.
I told you that maybe 8 or 10 days if I can't. I will be in excruciating pain. You may have to do that.
But a quorum of 3 is 2, so we can carry on without you as much as we hate to.
Alex and I have been talking almost every day about board review, and so there's gonna be quite a bit of it, but we might be a situation where we have a couple of long days, start early, finish late, which is the way I would like to do it, if at all possible.
Problem with that is when we hear it, then we've got to put it in the computer.
Yeah.
It makes it.
So that ceases to become the board's problem, once we hear it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the week, July 10th
For the,
for the public hearing, White Ash.
I would recommend an evening meeting,
That almost has to be in the evening, guys.
July 10th is a
And-
Monday.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that will have to be a public, an open meeting for us.
Correct. Do we want to have it here? Or do we want to have it somewhere else?
I mean, I'm up to whatever you think, guys. I think we should have it there. We might get more participation from the residents.
Where do you have it then?
You could tell the different places. One would be ask the church or that big church. Or we could have a restaurant. I don't think we could do that.
So I would think if you wanted to ask the church, it'd have to be other than Wednesday, if it's a weeknight,
So you said the 10th, which is Monday.
maybe the 10th.
Check with them. See, if not, we could always fall back to that.
And I have an evening meeting on the 11th, which is our normal board meeting. And I could miss that.
Wednesday evening's my only conflict with any other day that week.
Okay, so let's shoot for the 10th. Okay, is that okay with everybody? Then we'll figure out the location.
Let's shoot for the 10th, knowing that that's going to be subject to availability.
So you guys think it'd be better to have it out there?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it
Then
would
I'll
be,
contact the church. Let's see if we can go that way.
but you will take care of
I'll
contacting the
contact the
church.
church.
Okay, Stephanie has a list of addresses for them, for
Or,
those people.
I mean, is that okay, or do you want to try it again?
Yeah, maybe.
What do you think?
I think the church,
Be good.
Yeah. So Stephanie's
on a
got,
Monday, a restaurant may not be open on Monday, we don't want to make that.
That's true. That's true.
so Stephanie has a list of names and addresses for out there.
What is that, your set home church?
I couldn't tell you the truth.
There's two right there, but I think that's,
I mean, the big one, the real big one.
I think it's on the issue.
The other one is Baptist.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll take care of getting that lined out and ready to go?
I'll find out who the pastor is. Who we can contact them. I'll let you know.
Okay, so we'll need in that letter that we send to these people,
That evening. What time would be? 6,
yeah,
7, 6.
whatever,
Like 7.
well, it's liable to
6
be,
o'clock's fine.
it's liable to be contentious, so we probably ought to have some time. So what do we tell these people?
Important meeting, it's, for every White Ash resident. And it's on the White Ash sewer system. Extremely important. We need a participation, we need an input. We need,
Okay, what about, why are we doing this? So give me the reason why we're doing this. Because we're gonna be filling those questions.
money that we use to take care of the maintenance of sewer system came from the sale of the assets originally. Squad and the 2 buildings that they had. That money was being depleted. We found out through the reason when Harbor became available and what it used for. That was the direction we thought would be the best route for White Ash. That money, any excess money that we have left over, because we're coming to the end of that, of the assets that we sold and the assets that we acquired. It's coming to the end of that. So it's going to come to a point in time that the county no longer will be able to assist. I guess you have to word it carefully. And I may have messed up on it already by the look on your face. But
Yeah, I'm waiting for the corrections.
I know, he's going to.
So Ray, have we done any more research on what the county actually can and cannot do?
Well, you know, one of the first questions is, what has the county officially done? That we get differing accounts as to, you know, hearing Jim just now, you know, that he said that we received from the bank and then from we sold it, you know, well, it sounds like the county's jumped 2 feet in, not just a toe. And so if that's the case, then I think you need to say, if you don't appear, or if you don't show up to this meeting, then the board is going to make a decision. And what is that decision going to be? I mean, I think you want to put the consequence. We're going to decide the future of the sewer system for your residents. Well, that should get somebody's attention. And if you decide that you're not going to maintain it or you're not going to do this, then what's the next step? And I've not had conversations with the EPA because, but honestly, the EPA doesn't seem to want to have those conversations as to what does happen if all of a sudden Johnson City says we're shutting off the valve to our treatment plant. It's going to be a matter of a day before people are going to realize that their pipes are backing up into the residence. So that's not, I don't know that that's the solution. I don't know that your liability carrier would be thrilled to death to hear that you potentially created a sewage backup within all these county residences. So again, I don't know what the public meeting is intended to do because they're not going to, unless you're going to say, we're going to shut it off and you have X days to get your own private sewer, septic system, et cetera, which again, we don't know whether or not the EPA will allow them to go back and revert back to a septic system, since there is a piping and framework for a regular system, which then puts it back into, well, what do we do with Johnson City, who's now saying, you don't want your pipes connected, can they? Because the EPA's telling them, well, you can't turn that off. I think we got a lot of questions to get answered before we have a public meeting and put things in a letter. I mean, that's my opinion.
We had met with the EPA way back when, with the state's attorney's office present. And basically, they had no idea where to go with this. And
So you
everything-
might as well not have had the meeting, is the problem.
We wanted to let them know, listen, this is a problem. Can you give us direction? We need help and direction from them? And they didn't offer any help.
But when the restaurant called and said, hey, we've got backup here, the EPA all of a sudden then paid attention.
We let them know every time there was an overflow.
But whose responsibility was it?
It wasn't ours.
That's what,
And the only.
I have yet to hear that or see that in writing from the EPA.
Because they asked us, who do we find? We told them originally, we don't own it. And the only reason we have that money and that we did what we did, and that's all public record from way back. It's not anything new, I just said.
No, I understand.
But it was just a temporary fix from the very get-go until we could figure this whole thing out.
So is the meeting notifying them that we're done temporarily fixing?
Well, but yet on the other flip side of that, we gave them a new sewer system, new electronics, because that was the problem. They put in the system and they never maintained it. And through time and corrosion, it broke down like any system. And but that's what I'm saying. I think, I get what you're saying, that we need to figure out what we're going to say before we have this meeting. I totally agree with that. But at the same time, I think,
I mean, I just
since we
think,
figure that out, we need to have that meeting even before everything is.
I don't disagree, but I guess the question is what answers do you want to see to be able to have the meeting? Do you want to be able to say, we're done?
I think we'd have to talk to them about them forming their own sewer district.
So then that's what you would put in the letter.
That's what we.
Right, I mean, that's again, what I'm trying to get to is,
Right.
what is it, what's the end game here?
Well, that's all I thought was a
The
given.
end game is them constructing the sewer district. That has to be what it is. That Johnson City taking it over.
And there's where I'll jump in now. that's what I think we need to put our first effort into. I've had a similar conversation with Mayor Dobbins. He was receptive as well with me to them having us, one of us, all of us at a council meeting and answering questions. That he led me to believe there was a possibility that Johnston City would take this over, but it's going to take some talks and negotiation. And if we can make those talks work, we don't even need White Ash resident meeting.
Concur with that. I mean, that's the problem. I think it's fine to have this date, but I don't know that you can send a letter out at this point because Johnson City may have a solution. You may reach a solution within just your.
Absolutely. I'd be all for that. I'm just saying,
So he told you.
we're just approaching that time. So,
I assume, I mean,
and the question that
He said
was presented to us, this board before in the past was, well, who's profiting off of this system? It's not us.
Everybody loses.
It's, Johnson City's property. They're the ones where the sewer bill goes to.
it's our first.
Yes.
Yes. I just don't know what their profit.
No, I'm not saying, I don't know how much.
Because there's a
they're
loan.
I'm just saying, but they are making money on the system.
Because there's still a loan.
Right.
For White Ash. that
Correct.
is having to have payments made as well.
Correct. And all we're doing is just giving Johnson City their money. That's all.
No, you guys are just a handler.
Well, yeah, way station. So.
Because then you'll have to deal with the loan, the outstanding balance of the loan as well, because there's not enough funds
To pay it off.
from White Ash to pay that off.
So I don't know if you heard what I was telling him, but I was asked who's profiting off this. Well, it's Johnson City. They've been profiting off this ever since because.
I don't know
that's
that
where-
you could call that property though.
I don't know if they make money or if they don't make money, but if they
Yeah.
did set up where they would
I mean,
make
they're
money,
providing a service.
they're providing the service, but they're not gonna provide service if they don't make
They're
Oh, they're
receiving,
not gonna do it for free unless the
money.
EPA comes in and
They're
tells them they
the
have.
ones making money. All we're doing is giving Johnson City the money. That's all we're doing.
Right.
We're just a waste station.
Yeah, there's no benefit.
So
to the
just
county.
like taxes. People pay their property. So we leave out there.
So, Commissioner Razor says that, and I agree with him, that we need to go to the next city council meeting. I'll reach out to Mayor Dobbins and get us on the agenda. In the meantime, I think we still need to have a secondary plan. Let's figure out what we're gonna say. If we have a public meeting, public hearing.
Well, I'll say this, I'll go into the direction. Six.
Well, I think by what we need to say is that they need to form their own sewer district.
That's the
And
end.
then, of course, with that suggestion, we also need to have information as to whether or not they can levy, because their district is not going to probably generate the kind of income it's going to take to pay the debt off quick enough.
would they have the ability to process their own wastewater?
White Ash?
No, they'd have to have a treatment center.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you're asking them to create their own separate sewer district, they're gonna, either way, they have to have the cooperation of Johnson City.
They have to have Johnson City.
I mean, really, the only thing the sewer district would do would be responsible for maintaining lift stations and piping.
Right.
Because the processing is actually still gonna require Johnson City to be a good neighbor.
Yeah, I think Jim's right. It's beneficial for Johnson City to continue to receive that stuff. The sewer fund. They make money with very little expense attached to it.
Yeah, they don't maintain it. They're just collecting money.
No, they're just processing.
That's it. So let me ask this question. So can all three of us attend the board meeting?
Well, I don't know. I'll have to look at that. I'll be honest, I've not dealt with that issue of the three of you attending a meeting of another public body and not having it as your own meeting.
Not even two of us, right?
The other times that I've seen this happen is there's been joint meetings that I've seen on the news or read about, but I, again, haven't experienced personally, so I'll have to get the research. Find out how that occurs.
If not, then I suggest either Tim, as chairman, go.
Yeah, I mean, it's, let's figure that out.
One of the many things.
I will get you that answer.
All right, does that, anybody have anything else? Jim, you got anything? Alex? You want to tell us about being elected to, nominated for that?
I was appointed, nominated, asked to be on the education committee for the Illinois Property Assessment Institute. I consider that to be a pretty good honor for being in office for 2 years, having the designations for 10 or so years, so. Quarterly meetings by Zoom, so it shouldn't take too much of the county's time. The other thing I wanted to, at the next meeting or coming up, we talked to the engineering company out of Alabama about the solar farm. To get that on the agenda as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we need to write them a letter of recommendation. Right.
About their funding or the funding that they were gonna.
So our next meeting will maybe, want to be Monday. Can we have that ready by Monday?
Well, you guys were gonna have the discussion about where that money was gonna go. Talking about the CASA and child advocacy
Yeah,
reminded me about that.
that's true. That's true.
But we were gonna send them the link so they could come by Zoom or
They needed that by the end of June. Right?
the letters they needed by the end of June. So even if we did it the 13th of the next regular
We still
meeting.
got time. I'll send you guys something on this. This is a solar farm. And as part of the grant process, and correct me if I'm wrong, as part of the grant process, they're going to receive funds to say there's a gift back to the community portion of this. And that's going to wind up being, what, 60 or some $1,000.
One time 70 or
Yeah.
25,
And then a yearly kickback of
it's either or.
7,500 or something like that. So we might take it at one time, or we might take a monthly kickback. What we thought about when we were talking to these folks was child advocacy and also, which we desperately use the funds. So you might think about that. I'll send you that information. If I haven't sent you the information, I don't know if I forwarded that to you or not. I'll send it to you again, that way you guys can,
I've seen it, so I appreciate it.
and that way we can make an informed choice about what we're going to do. What I'm going to do is before the deadline is send them, in the information I've got, will be some sample letters that other counties and jurisdictions have sent. That's,
Community block solar.
community block.
Part of that is they have to give back to the community.
I'm glad you said that. I had forgotten completely.
That's why I'm saying.
Okay. If we stay here, we'll find other things to talk about.
I do
So
have one more thing.
there you go. What do you got, Jim?
Just want to let the board know, if you don't know already, that Gridco did vote to pass a resolution to allow the sale of 25 acres of ground in the Gridco area out there by Eisen to the Southern Illinois Reentry Program. So they will be building a building there, and everything's on track now. So Eisen was the big kicker. Eisen looked at it as a potential lease facility out there. So, yeah, they sold, they agreed to sell 25 acres. Bring it to people.
Okay. Anybody else? Motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
Roll call.
Jim Adkison.
Yes.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Jim Brazel.
yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. Grab some, I know that you guys need to start.